Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Virginia postgame press conference. We're joined by head coach Lars Tiffany, as well as student athletes Connor Shellenberger and Jared Connors. We'll open up the press conference with some comments from Coach Tiffany, and then we'll begin the question and answer period. Feature to be called on, and please state who your question is directed to. Thanks for your cooperation, and now we'll open up Coach Tiffany, if you have your thoughts on today's game.
Thank you. A complete effort today happened because of the leadership from within this team, starting with Jared Connors and John Fox, our two captains, our goalie, Alex Rode, and how he has stepped up as a leader. And then the offensive end with Ian Laviano personally taking a lot of responsibility for how we approached that 3 weeks off and how we were going to really improve our fitness, get healthier, be more skilled, and come tighter as a game. And many of us looked at that 3-week layoff as a potential disease, but we turned it into a positive. And the results are what we've seen since then. A fantastic complete effort by this team, starting with Petey LaSala at the faceoff X, giving us those extra possessions. The ride in the first half where we were being aggressive, big hit by Dox Aiken, setting the tone in the middle of the field there. Peyton Cormier got a ball back. Xander Dixon picking off a pass and scoring. Creating those extra possessions, allowing us to attack a defense that's athletic was key. And I thought Sean Kerwin did a fantastic job putting our men in position to find those little windows. Georgetown is very tough on ball, and you've got to earn a slide. I thought Sean did a really nice job of putting shooters in good positions to take advantage of those little windows, and we shot well, especially in that first half today. So it was and then at the defensive end, it was an intense, determined approach by both our close defensemen and our midfield defenders in terms of getting to gloves, being ready to slide when we saw someone's neck and create a double team. And then other times trusting Cade Saustad. And a lot of credit to Cole Kastner. He had a huge matchup today. Jake Carraway is a Tewaaraton finalist, and he deserves that honor. And what Cole Kastner was able to do and disrupt him today was simply fantastic.
All right. We'll open it up for questions. Start with Patrick Stevens.
Hey, Lars, you mentioned aggressiveness there a little bit. It seemed like that was something that really in the first 15 to 20 minutes especially, I thought was the standout thing for you guys as a trait. Was that a priority this week to really be super aggressive at both ends of the field?
Yes. It's when Sean, Kip Turner, and I came to Charlottesville 5 years ago, we talked about that was going to be our mantra, playing fast, aggressive lacrosse at both ends of the field. And I was really happy to see how we executed that plan today, getting to the Dodgers' gloves. And if we saw a chance on a roll, going to make a play, and then that ball went in the ground, we had picking it up, creating that transition. I know Jared had that great play in the third quarter, coming down, finding Laviano for a goal in transition. That's who we want to be. We go man down sometimes because of it. We had 3 penalties, maybe 4 penalties in the first half because of that aggressiveness. But that's who we are, and that's okay. We're not going to back that off, and we're just going to lean on our goalie Alex Rode and our man down defense to cover up some of those aggressive mistakes.
Next, Caroline Darney.
Lars, you had obviously there's 51 goals out of Carraway for the season. You've got Hallie, the leading assist guy, and both of them kept off the board today. How nice is it to be able to trust the close defense, and especially with getting those slides late in the season, but knowing that, especially Cole Kastner stepping up as the first year, you mentioned him a little bit already, but just the overall performance and how they handled such a tough offensive challenge.
Yeah, it was a tough challenge because the Georgetown midfield is dynamic and athletic. Bundy gets a ton of attention. He's a first-team All-American midfielder. But McDermott and Pekovic and certainly Hess in transition, they they demand slides. You can't leave midfielders on islands there, but we can, because of Jared Connors, leave him on an island. And so he was able to do a fantastic job defending Bundy. But you're right, at the other end of the field, it's really nice not to have to slide. And that's what we were able to do with Kate Southstead, who was on Haley most of the game. Though we did rotate our matchups because I wanted to give Caraway and Haley different looks throughout the game. So Quentin Matsui would sub in, and it allowed us to put on both Cole Kastner and Kate Southstead to guard Jake Caraway, just so that as an offensive player, they couldn't get into a rhythm seeing the same defender the entire game. And that also changed who we put on Haley. So sometimes we would put Kyle Kaloji when it wasn't Kate Southstead. And that, it sounds good, but now you're asking more of our defensemen. You got multiple matchups you have to prepare for. Well, give these guys credit. This defense prepared themselves for a lot of film. Sean Kerwin, Kip Turner, and Cooper Furston creating a lot of learning systems that we use. And Learn to Win is one of the software systems. They studied the opponent, and so they were ready to play multiple offensive players.
Okay, thank you. Next up, Brian Heyman.
This is for Connor. I guess what does it mean to you to get to the Final Four and a chance to defend your title? And also, what do you think PD has meant to your success to get you this far?
Yeah, I mean, reaching the Final Four is definitely a goal of ours every year. To be able to go there and have the opportunity to win the national championship is why we work so hard, and everyone's so bought into this thing. So it's definitely exciting and an opportunity we won't take lightly. And I think PD, just what he's been able to do, the way he's been able to shift games, absolutely dominating at the X. How much offense he plays for us. He's not a liability on defense. He's scoring goals, doing all these different things. So, his success is so crucial to our success, and the stuff that he goes through and with his body, and just absolutely pushing the limits every game is incredible and kind of inspiring as a teammate. It's like, if he's pushing through this, then why am I not?
Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from Jeff White.
Hey, this is for Lars. Lars, you got a lot of guys on your team who played on this field 2 years ago. The guy who had the biggest game offensively for you is not one of those guys. What can you say about Connor's performance today?
Right. It's interesting with the gap of because of COVID and not having a 2020 playoff. Yeah, and people saying, hey, you're the defending national champs. You got a lot returning, but we lost quite a bit in those 2 years. And so we were playing a lot of new faces, and it's interesting to see how would we step up? How would we perform in this type of pressure situation? In the pregame huddle, I talked to the team about, first of all, we have to match the energy of Georgetown. Georgetown's a big, athletic, energetic team. And then offset it with our advantage of having been here before. And then I looked around the room, saw a lot of young faces, including Connors. I said, let's let the older guys start us off, guide us. You've got the experience. And then the younger guys will quickly fall in line and step up and make plays. And certainly that's what happened, with Connor Shellenberger taking advantage of the matchups, whether he had a long stick or short stick, dodging hard from behind especially, but also up top. Connor was fantastic today. It's we know he can be this aggressive and go to the goal, but it's sort of in Connor's nature not to be this aggressive. But Georgetown's defense was challenging us. They were saying, hey, we're not necessarily going to slide to everything. You got to win. You got to run by us. And so therefore, that's one of the reasons you only see was 4 assists today. But it's not a game where it's only 4 assists because it's a bad team offensive effort. This is what the defense presented to us. Connor Shellenberger is one of our best weapons to make the team pay for not sliding.
Preston Willett.
Yeah, first for Connor, you talked about earlier this week about growing up and playing in the backyard, kind of imagining these situations. How does it actually compare doing it in the actual NCAA quarterfinals?
I mean, it was awesome. It's all you dream of, playing here at Hofstra, even just from watching the 2019 team, on TV and kind of getting to experience everything yourself. It's, it definitely lives up to everything that you dream of. And it was just cool to have the opportunity to be here, and then the opportunity next week to go to the Final Four. It's another thing that we all grow up watching. So just kind of thankful for the opportunity, to be honest.
And then for Jared, what's kind of the mood on the sideline when you see a guy just continuously taking advantage of those matchups? Do you all kind of egg Connor on the sidelines to keep going?
Yeah, absolutely. And we take a lot of pride in the sideline and how the energy that we keep throughout the game. So we try and keep everybody up, and seeing a guy like Connor just being able to dominate definitely helps. And he comes off the field and we're all fired up to give him a high five or slap him on the head. And like I said, we love the sideline, and that's something we take pride in, and we're just going to keep it rolling.
All right, Mike Barber.
Yeah, Jared, defensively, obviously this was a dominant performance. What is it that works when your defense is on like this?
Yeah, that's a good question. Definitely aggressiveness, like Coach Tiffany mentioned, and just getting the gloves and being disruptive. But I think a large part of it is just we've played together for this whole season now. We've been through so much going through the fall and the spring, dealing with all the COVID protocols. And I think a large part of it is just coming together and bonding. Those 3 weeks that we had off, it was definitely spent, working hard, but it was also spent coming closer as a team. And that's something you can really feel on the defensive end, and it pays off in the communication and the trust that we have in each other.
And Connor, Coach mentioned to us during the week that, you could maybe be more aggressive, more assertive. It's not necessarily your nature, that you're kind of content to be a piece of the puzzle. Have you felt your mindset kind of shifting here, the more experience you have to be more assertive?
Yeah, I think as the year's gone on, definitely with the help of Coach Kerwin and Coach Tiffany, they've kind of pushed me to be more aggressive. And, I think mentally just trying to take that next step. It's, you have the redshirt year, but, this is really, I guess, my first live action. So, I guess just mentally and physically trying to take that next step every game. And, how can we get better during the practice week? Just continuously getting better. And I think by doing that, it's allowed me to get a little bit more aggressive. But as Coach Tiffany alluded to, it really is kind of depends on the matchup. Some games teams aren't sliding, so we got to go to the rack. And, sometimes teams are sliding a lot, so, you're more of a feeder. But it's definitely something I've been trying to focus on, more aggressive, but not reckless.
It's more so in Connor's nature to be unselfish, to share the ball. So he's absolutely right. We're like a cattle prodding. Let's go to the goal. Be a little more selfish out there, Connor.
Back to Patrick Stevens.
One for Jared. I know every year is different, but do you see some similarities between how your defense started to play even better and better in the postseason 2 years ago and what you've been able to do so far this year?
Yeah, definitely. I think you see a lot of the same themes: getting to gloves, sliding hard, sliding on rollbacks. So yeah, I definitely think it's comparable, and that was a dominant year for us by the end there with our defense. And we're starting to see those same themes, and you can also feel it in the chemistry on the field. So yeah, I definitely think you can compare the two, and they're pretty close.
Caroline.
Jared, can you take us through your mindset at the beginning? Connor just talked a little bit about that aggressive, not reckless. The emotional swing of going from 35 seconds into the game down to then up a lot shortly after. Those emotional swings, 12 caused turnovers today. And then also just you came back your fifth year to try and do this. What does it mean to you to go back to championship weekend?
Yeah, we talk about, the week leading up, we talk about the emotional swings of a game. And, that's something that obviously I have a lot of experience with being here for a fifth year. And so, we were prepared for, the refs to call a tight game and for us to continue to lay the body, whether they were going to call it tight or not. So definitely emotional first couple seconds there, but, we trust the next guy up and we trust our man down defense. And then moving into the next part of that question, being back here for a fifth year, this is why you come back. This is where, it all pays off, all the extra work and, taking that time to, consider coming back for a fifth year. I'm really excited for next weekend, and it's unbelievable that, we get this opportunity again. And I couldn't be happier to be back.
Jeff White, did you have another question?
Yeah, please. This is for Jared. Jared, we saw Alex Rode peak this time of year in 2019, and it looks like he's, on the same path again this postseason. What changes with him, NCAA tournament time? And also, was there anything comforting about being back in this town, back on this field, back in the same hotel you were in 2019?
Yeah. So on road, he's a beast. he's an awesome guy that we can depend on, and you just watch him grow across the season. And I think, like everybody else on the team, we realize there's a lot more on the line come every game this time of year. So, there's that pressure to step up your game, and the man thrives under pressure. We saw that in every game in the postseason in 2019. And, I have no doubt in my mind that he's going to carry that into next weekend as well. The second part of that question, definitely comforting having the experience of being here already and having, the same routine. And we even wore orange helmets and all white unis in 2019. So, don't fix it if it's not broke. We're going down the same path and we've had the same success. So, I'm really excited for next weekend and thrilled to have the opportunity, like I said.
Preston?
Yeah, Lars, the Georgetown coach talked about the defense today and just, how long they are. How much of an advantage is it and how unique is it in lacrosse to have, that kind of height, especially with Cole Kastner getting more playing time now?
It's unique to play against us with 6'7". And that's not an exaggeration with Cole Kastner. Jared, who's all of 6'5", Kate Soustad, who's 6'5", pushing 6'6", and Kyle Kaloji, looks a little bit more pedestrian there at 6'4". It's different. To use a basketball analogy, it's like the Syracuse men's basketball zone defense that they love to play, that 2-3 zone. It's hard to recreate in practice because the length of the Syracuse and especially the big man inside. And so it certainly can be a big advantage to us with those four. And then, but I don't want to overlook the development of our short stick team middies. As the years going on, Grayson Soliday and Chris Merle especially have really become stalwart, difficult to beat. And we're not leaving them on islands by any means, but they're doing their job really well and then getting the ball cleared really well. And so, I'm the lucky beneficiary of a group of men who are buying into the system and trusting the system and executing it and playing at a really high level. And then today it was great because when the ball went in the ground, we weren't given second chances. We were picking that thing up and getting it out. And again, the advantage of that length. When you got a 6-foot stick and you've got a 6'7" wingspan, you can reach more balls.
All right. And our last question comes from Mike Barber.
Yeah, Lars, when we talked during the week about the mindset and not talking about defending because you can't lose what you've already won, and but the joy and the happiness of the challenge of repeating, what is your message now? How much do you talk about the end result, the final prize versus the semifinal? How do you approach this weekend?
Yeah, that's a good question. I haven't had time to think about it too much, but certainly the first and foremost is the obvious pure joy to be with this group for one more week. I get a little melodramatic sometimes on the last practice, like a week, the day before the Bryant game and the last practice for this game today. Like, man, is this the last time I'm going to see Jared Connors and Dox Aiken and a whole bunch of other people wearing the Virginia jersey? So it's what a joy to have one more week. And I guess this will help because when it is Final Four weekend, it is definitive. Like there is no more. This is it. And so the mindset will be, it's a road that we're familiar with. And again, as we went into this game with, we've got to match the energy and the fury of the moment with the balance of poise and experience. And that's something that we're fortunate to have.
You ever been hit in the head in pregame warmups?
I saw Kevin Warren go down. That was it was a little alarming. And I actually, to tell you the truth, I got as close to being hit by a ball in years coming out at halftime. I mean, Kip Turner whistled one, and it went within about 6 inches of me, and so I almost took one too. So I know that didn't look good for Coach Ward. I had a lot of empathy for him on that one when he went down.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. The press conference will be uploaded to the Hofstra Pride YouTube channel after they download from after I end the meeting. But I thank you for your attendance today, and thank you to Coach Tiffany and the players for their time.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the game.